Hi people, it's me Anja, my pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for my April TBR. April, reading wise, is always a very transitional month for me because it's the month in between the 2 months in which I read the most books. So hopefully, I'm hoping for more quality over quantity this month, if that makes any sense. But anyway, the first book on this list is called Spellbound. This book comes out April 4th. It's a YA queer fantasy following two rivaling magician apprentices who must team up to protect their own magic and save their teachers. This book sounds like it's going to be so awesome and so good. I've read 2 books previously by this author, so I trust them very, very much, especially with their magical, inventive world building and awesome, amazing queer romances. So anyway, I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome. I typically don't enjoy rivals to lovers, but in a fantasy setting, I'm imagining that the execution is going to be so good and so well done, and the rivalry will make so much more sense. You know what I mean? In a fantasy setting rather than in a contemporary setting, where usually rivals to lovers is based on some pettiness from 3rd grade. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but basically I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome. So without any further ado, this book comes out April 4th, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next book on this list is called Jude Leclair Crushes the Case. This book comes out April 18th, and it's a middle grade contemporary sequel to Jude Leclair Gets a Clue, which I read last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. So when I heard that there was going to be a sequel, I was absolutely so excited because the first book was so good. The mystery was so captivating, but so was the underlying family storyline that was so good too. And I loved all of the characters and the queer representation as well as the disability representation because the main character has asthma and is also bisexual, if I'm remembering correctly. The first book was so good. So I have really high expectations for this sequel. It's going to be so awesome. I'm so excited for the friendships, the mystery, the family, everything about it. Sounds like it's going to be so awesome and so well done and so well developed. So anyway, with all of that said, this book comes out April 18th, and I'm so excited to read it. The next book on this list is called Jude Saves the World. This book is a middle grade contemporary following a young, non-binary main character as they navigate the complexities of friendship and identity, and it comes out April 18th. I'm so excited to read this book because honestly, it sounds like everything that I love. I love middle grade stories. I love middle grade queer stories. I love stories that talk about friendship and identity. And I love timely topics. This book sounds like it's going to be so awesome and so well done. I love supporting marginalized authors. Literally, I'm so excited to read this book. The plot, the characters, the friendship, the representation sounds like it's going to be so awesome and so well done. I'm so excited to read this book. It's going to be so awesome and so good. Not just for the representation, because I know it's so important to read these kind of stories all year round, but especially right now during these scary times. You know what I mean? Anyway, the point is, I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds like it's going to be so awesome and so well done. So without any further ado, this book comes out April 18th. The next book on this list is called The Song of Wrath. For those who don't know, this book is a YA historical fiction sequel to The Bones of Ruin, which I really, really enjoyed last year. And it was absolutely so good and so excellent. So naturally, I have very, very high expectations for this sequel. It also comes out April 18th, and I'm so excited for it. It's also one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year, if you didn't know, because literally The Bones of Ruin was so good. It was one of my almost favorites of last year because I absolutely loved the world building, the characters, the found family friend group, the plot, everything about it was so iconic, so well done, so brilliant, and so underrated. So anyway, naturally I have very, very high expectations for this sequel. Typically, I don't give sequels high expectations because usually when I start a sequel, I don't quite remember what happened in the first book, and sometimes it all comes back, but sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, I digress. The point is, I'm really, really looking forward to this book, and I really, really hope this sequel is a very, very solid, awesome sequel, just like the first book was. So anyway, all that to say, this book comes out April 18th. The next book on this list is called Becoming a Queen. This book comes out April 25th, and it's a YA contemporary following a young queer main character who's navigating love, self-expression, and drag when the unthinkable happens. And this book is marketed for fans of Julie Murphy and Jandy Nelson. I'm so excited to read this book because it sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome. I really should read more fictional stories about drag because unlike some people, I don't think it's harmful towards children, and therefore I should educate myself more on it so that I can be more empathetic towards the drag community, if that makes any sense. So anyway, not just for my education and for my growing empathy, I'm so excited to read this book because it sounds like it's going to be so amazing and so well done, not just with the representation, but also with the story. I'm excited to read a story about like brotherly relationships and about like grief and love and self-expression, not just in these scary times where drag is being banned in too many states, but also like, you know what I mean? Like, it's important to read these stories all year round, no matter what's happening in the United States, no matter what's happening in the world, just like in general. Like, I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds like it's going to be so good, not just for the representation, but also for the entire plot and the characters and everything. So anyway, all that to say, this book comes out April 25th, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. The last book on this list, and hopefully not the least, is called Skandar and the Phantom Idol. This book comes out April 27th, and it's a middle-grade fantasy sequel to Skandar and the Unicorn Thief, which I read last year and I really, really enjoyed. I'm so excited to return to this world with these characters and the school and the friendships and like the sibling relationship. Like, I'm so excited to read this book. It's going to be so good and so awesome. Like, the first book was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. Like, I loved the world building, the unicorns, the animals, the characters, the siblings, the friendships, the plot. Like, everything about it was so good and so well done. So anyway, naturally I have such high expectations for the sequel because it's going to be so good and so awesome. Or at least I really, really hope so. So anyway, all that to say, this book comes out April 27th, and I'm so excited to read it. So with that said, I'm really, really looking forward to it. So in conclusion, my April TBR is going to be full of queer books, middle grade books, and sequels. So it's going to be an awesome month. Also, I'd like to apologize that this video was supposed to go up yesterday, but it's going up today because yesterday I was busy watching Prom Pact. So clearly I was booked. So anyway, the point is, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the panda emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!